What's going on, guys? It's Motonosity. Welcome back to the garage build series. If you're just jumping in the last video, the first video of this garage series, I did the full concrete prep that was needed to prepare for the epoxy that I'm going to be putting down. I teamed up with Leggari Products, who makes an awesome garage epoxy kit that's going to make this look incredible. But I needed to do the concrete prep first, and today we're going to be doing the primer and then the epoxy. It's going to be a long day, and there's a good chance that by the end of the day I'm not going to have daylight. I left the garage doors open so you guys could see in general kind of what the brightness level is in the garage. I eventually want to do an actual lighting setup in here, but for now, something quick and easy is replacing these lights with these really cool kind of adjustable LED panels. Here's the ones that I got. I think they were about 22 or 23 bucks each. 3 different panels, and you can adjust the angle on them. But since this is probably gonna be a long day and I'm gonna lose daylight, I wanted to pick up these. So I'm gonna get these in the lights, and we'll see how they look. All right, I'm gonna close the garage, cross my fingers that these work. I don't know why they wouldn't. With the garage doors, I get really good light in here. With them closed, obviously it's pretty dark. Okay, I just have one garage light on right now. Let me turn it on. Nice! It's not as bright as the full tube LEDs, but it's so much better than what it was before. I gotta move everything out of the garage. I gotta do all of the prep for the taping off edges and stuff like that. And then I gotta do all of the mixing. The actual painting of the primer is supposed to take under an hour for this size garage. The epoxy is definitely gonna be longer. I'll have to mix all of that, then spread it, then use the roller to actually even everything out. Then we have the metallic that we're gonna be mixing into it to give it a marble effect. Probably looking at about 6 hours. I think in my head I'm being conservative, but I've never done this before, and that's why I wanted to show you guys, because I like doing as much as I can on my projects as I can on my own. But again, I haven't done it before, so I don't know. I'm gonna get started, we're gonna move everything out, and then we can start taping things off. Camera died, obviously, story of my life. Cleared out everything except this table, the motorcycle lift. Gonna roll that out next, and this little pile of stuff that we use in the concrete prep video. I need a mixing station, and Leggari recommends setting it up just outside the garage so you can go directly from the mixing area into the garage without carrying anything over a spot that you're not gonna be putting any primer or epoxy down on. So I'm gonna reuse this black plastic that I laid down in here and set it up right at the corner of that side of the garage. By the way, a couple days ago was my 30th birthday, and my wife bought me a one wheel. I'm pretty freaking stoked. All right, so first step in the prep for the primer is to tape off all of our edges and along the driveway. So Leggari recommends going up about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch from the floor along the wall. So I'll be doing that around all the edges. And then we're gonna be dropping down the garage doors so we can mark off where the garage door comes down, so we can tape off a line so that the epoxy ends right underneath the door. All right, I know you guys didn't want to see me tape the entire garage, so I finished up the inside here. And then what I did is I swept the entire garage out, and then I used my leaf blower and I blew everything out after that just to confirm I've got everything. And now, since that's all swept up and taken care of, I can go along the edge of the garage. I've got everything set up. Like I mentioned, I'm using a kit from Leggari Products. You basically just pick out the color that you want, whether you want a metallic mix-in for the epoxy that'll go on top to kind of give it that marble effect. You'll pick a base color. They send you out everything that you need. Everything is labeled. So here I have the primer, and it says on the instructions that are right on the bottle, you got mixing ratio 2 parts A to 1 part B. So this is primer A and this is primer B, and they're already 2 parts to 1. This is half a gallon, this is 1 gallon. So I'll mix all of each bottle into this 5-gallon bucket right here. I've got my drill with the mixing attachment. And I'll have all this stuff listed down in the description, all of the epoxy products, all of the mixing products, everything that I've used for this entire project will be listed down in the description so you guys have an easy reference for all of that. The last thing on the instructions, it says, once mixed, blend in 20 ounces of clean water. First thing that I'm gonna do is go along all of the edges where I've actually taped off, so I don't have to go try to squeeze in right against the edge with the roller. And actually shortly after you do the primer, once it's dry, you wanna do the epoxy. So it's a 1-day project for the primer and the epoxy. You don't wanna split it up. Finished half the garage. I'm gonna mix up the second half and move on. I'm really happy with this so far. Pretty simple. Of course, I haven't laid down the epoxy yet, so we'll see. All right, I'm feeling confident. All of this is completely finished. By the way, they don't have like spiked shoes available at Home Depot or Lowe's. So I have my old baseball cleats, which are falling apart, so I duct tape them together. The spiked shoes are just so that you can walk on the epoxy without messing anything up, because the epoxy will settle. So it's okay if you leave little pinpoints. I use what I can. So probably been about hour and a half since I finished the last section. I'm gonna hurry up though and get to work on the actual epoxy and start laying that down in the first section. They send you out everything that you need in the exact amount that you need. So you just send them the square footage that you're gonna be doing. And they also recommend splitting the project up into sections so that things don't harden before you have a chance to do the whole process of mixing the highlights and things like that. So my garage is about 600 square feet. The epoxy is about 50 square feet per gallon. So about 12 gallons. So they sent me 12 gallons total of epoxy, and it's mixed in a 2-to-1 ratio. So 2 parts A to 1 part B, plus the color that you choose. So the base is gonna be black. So they sent me 12 gallons. Each box is 3 gallons. So 3, 6, 9, 12. And then this one is for the highlights. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna be doing 1/4 of the garage at a time, which is gonna be 3 gallons. Confident, but I wanna get started because I got about 2 hours left of sunlight. Let's do this. Good night, sweetie. I love you.
Is it still pay on the floor?
Yeah, it's still all wet. See how shiny it is? Yeah.
When you wake up tomorrow, it'll be all done.
I love you, Daddy.
Love you, Daddy.
I love you, Aaron. Good night. It's been 24 hours since I finished. Last night when I was working on it, the memory card in my camera just ran out of space while I was working, and I was so freaking exhausted. I didn't want to go in, spend a half an hour unloading my whole card on my computer, but I completed the other half, and then I ran into an issue. Everything had gone so well until I got to the second half, and I went to do the highlights on the second half and realized the highlight epoxy had completely hardened. It was a dumb mistake. I'm glad I did it so that you guys don't have this problem if you guys do this kit, or if you do any epoxy for that matter. I mixed all of the highlight epoxy, the silver that I mixed in at the start. I thought that I could go fast enough that it wouldn't be an issue. In the actual bucket where you mix it, you only have about 15 minutes, I think. You have to get it on the floor. And then I think it gives you about double the working time before it starts really hardening. However, it doesn't look bad. The black that I mix into the epoxy for each kit, it's already a metallic. While it's kind of a bummer that I wasn't able to use the highlights on the entire area, it still has the epoxy or the metallic mix in all of it. It just doesn't have the silver on the front half of the garage. But I actually kind of like it. I'm gonna stop talking, I'm gonna actually show you. Here it is after 24 hours. I can walk on it. Look at this. This looks amazing. So here's the first area where I put down the silver, and I was a little bit heavier over here. And then I decided, you know what? I don't want so much silver. So as I moved over to this side, I was a little bit lighter with the silver that I put down, but look how cool this looks. As it settles, it basically gets rid of all the mixing swirls and lines, and it just looks like a natural kind of marbled look. So I am so stoked with how this came out. But here, as you can see here, as you walk over, you still see the metallic. I kind of blended it a little bit so it didn't look like it just ended on a line. Yeah, see, when you look at it from this side, it just looks like I tried to fade it to black. It takes about 7 days to completely cure, to put like full weight objects on it. However, we're gonna be doing a top coat on top of this. As you can tell, it's super high gloss. The top coat that I'm gonna be putting on though, gives it more of a satin finish, and it also has a texture in it. I think they say it's about 4 times as hard as just the epoxy if you were to leave the epoxy as is, and it adds a ton of scratch resistance and a lot of grip as well. I'm gonna be putting that on. I think the floors are gonna look even better with that on it, because it's gonna kind of flatten out what we have going on in here. Between like 12 and 36 hours for when you want to apply the top coat, depending on what the temperature is outside. And they recommend going over and kind of scuffing the surface and then wiping it down with some denatured alcohol before doing the top coat to give a really good bond. And then you're good to go. So that's what I'm gonna do now. All right guys, it's a couple days later and the floor looks incredible. So I waited 36 hours. It's been 36 hours now. So I've waited 36 hours to actually walk on the top coat. I love it. So the top coat was a matte top coat with the texture grit mixed in, and it feels really, really nice. So here's the floor now. And let me see if I can get a good angle. I'll stand over here. I love, 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 love. So even though I don't have the highlights on this side, the color of the epoxy still comes from a metallic powder. So you still get some of the metallic swirls in it. It's not as easy to see, but you guys can kind of see the cloudiness of the metallic marble effect in there. It's definitely not what we have over here, which is really, really cool. The top coat I am stoked about. So I know some people want it to be gloss, and you can do gloss and you can mix the texture into a gloss top coat. I wanted it to be matte because I want a little bit more of an industrial look in here. And I really wanted the texture because I wanted it to be, one, hide scratches and stuff like that, but two, be super grippy, because that was one of the things that I didn't like about the epoxy that I had at my old Austin house. It was so slippery that it wasn't safe. The only thing that we have left is to take off the tape. On the sides, that can be taken off very easily because you lay it, the tape down about an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch up from the ground. Very easy, you just kind of peel from the top, come down, and it comes right off. Not an issue at all. However, if you're peeling off tape on the end of your driveway, you're definitely gonna wanna do it either. I don't know what the best time is, because the problem that you have is you don't wanna pull it off too soon and have epoxy running into your driveway or in areas where you don't want it. If you wait too long, it's gonna be too hard and too thick for you to actually peel it off. What I did was I used a straight edge of a long piece of tile. I just took a razor blade and cut a line, which turned out really well, honestly. I think it probably turned out better than if I had peeled up tape. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys taking off the rest of the tape. We'll cut this driveway, or this garage door section, and then we'll be done. All right, can you pull it?
I put it on the wall.
You put it on the wall.
Put this side off.
All right, are you gonna do it? Oh.
Whoops, I whipped it.
Gotta pull it down like this.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it?
I found white tape.
Oh, yeah, that's white tape.
Daddy, I'm trying to get up the ladder.
Am I the ladder? What are you doing with the tape? Oh, are you gonna put it in the trash? Can you make it into a big ball? And slam dunk into the bucket.
Nope.
Nope.
Not quite.
Not quite.
It doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit?
Yeah, because it had too much. I'm going to do it myself. Silly.
Oh, no. All right, guys, I'm completely done. Word of advice, definitely take off the tape on the end of the garage where it meets your driveway. Like the next day after you lay down the epoxy, I had to use my Dremel. My razor blade would not get through this anymore like I was able to do on that side. So I did it. It's all complete. I gotta clean up this with my pressure washer, or I don't know if there's something that will get off epoxy. I'll probably go back and do some spray paint on the strip of concrete that's at the bottom. I'm gonna be doing a texture and painting the walls, but I don't wanna leave the concrete just like that. But other than that, it's done. I love how it looks. I'm a big fan of the matte finish with the texture. It feels really nice. Out of all the things that I've done DIY, like in my houses, this was not one of the harder things. The hardest thing about it was just getting all the supplies and figuring out everything that I needed. So I hope these videos helped you guys out if you want to tackle this yourself. I'll list all the stuff that I used down in the description. You guys can see the playlist link down in the description as well, with the other videos for the whole entire garage build series, as well as the concrete prep video that I did before this. Huge thanks to Leggari Products for hooking me up with the epoxy kit for this. I really liked it. And they got a ton of different colors, different metallics and stuff for you guys to kind of get the exact look that you want to have in your garage. So if you guys enjoyed the video or if it helped you out, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subbed already, turn on notifications so you guys get notified of all the videos coming out. We're gonna be finishing this garage out, and then we're gonna be getting back to the motorcycle builds in an awesome space. I hope you guys are stoked about it. You guys have been awesome. I've been Motonosity. Remember, life's better with horsepower. Keep life lived, and I'll see you guys in the next one.